Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee?
Good afternoon, everyone. This does not have the resounding voice that I'd like to have. Is this on? Can you turn it up? Yep. Testing 1, 2, 3. It's a little better. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing, Congresswoman?
I am. Thank you so very much. Hold on just a moment. We're going to go a little bit out of order. Let me welcome all of you here. And I thank Daniel very much for being the constant leader and collaborator of this wonderful meet and match that we have partnership with, starting with my office. And I'm so delighted, Mayor, I'm talking, and I'll put you on in just a moment, that the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is seeing the value in all of you. So on the phone, because the ALC is dedicated to Hurricane Harvey and Irma and Maria, and we know that our people are suffering. Many of you saw during the first hurricane that came that was extraordinary and was characterized as the most significant natural disaster in the continental United States, putting more gallons of water, trillions of gallons of water, making the chief executive of our city be the shining light and as well an innovator. We were to have him here today and in this meet and match, but he is hunkered down and I'm hunkered up here with phones to my ears. But he is hunkered down, and as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, I could not have the week finish without Mayor Sylvester Turner having a word and to indicate to him that he is not here to receive his leadership award, of which we will find him and hope to visit with him in Houston. But my phrase is, Hurricane Harvey came, and he met Mayor Sylvester Turner, and Mayor Turner won. Mayor Turner won. So I hope, Mayor, you heard me. And now we're going to leave the mic to you, and I'm hoping that the trick that we've been using will work. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Sylvester Turner, the mayor of the fourth largest city in the nation, Houston, Texas. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and everyone else who's there. Congresswoman, let me just start off by thanking you and the entire congressional delegation from our region for just being very supportive. We could not have come through the storm, and we're still in the recovery phase without you. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the award. Let me accept that award on behalf of all of Houston, Houstonians, first responders, neighbors, good Samaritans, people stepping up, and on behalf of people who were directly impacted, who either were displaced from their homes or they're still in their homes, but they are literally mucking their homes as we speak. So let me thank you. It was the most rainfall any place in the country at any time. Some places in Houston, Harris County got as much as 51 inches of rain. So it was a lot of rain. But we are in the recovery phase, and we want to do everything we can to rebuild this city so we'll be much better prepared, more resilient, because we all know that another storm will come. But thank you so very much. I can't thank you enough, Congresswoman, for just being there every day, during the storm, even at the aftermath. You were with me at the Office of Emergency Management all day, and then you set up shop at the largest shelter that we had that housed 10,000 people at the Georgia Brown Convention Center. So I want to thank you for your hands-on leadership and support. I certainly would have been there to be with you. Now, I want to thank the foundation, Congressional Foundation. I would have been there But you know, it's best that let me just stay here until we get the job done. So thank you again on behalf of all of Houston.
Mayor, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of the city of Houston. Mayor, as we get through the 47th year, we'll be checking with you. As you well know, many members of Congress want to come and have hands-on as well, but the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation has designated Houston as their economic summit site in the month of November, but we will be checking on those dates, which we are going to be settling on next week. I think Houston will be more than ready to be able to receive us, focusing on international trends in economic development and looking at the recovery of Hurricane Harvey. As well, you are represented by many city officials that are here, and many people who are here are also interested in helping you in the business end. They will be coming prepared, and they will be getting information from the number of federal agencies that are here. And as you well know, we continue to press for those federal funds coming directly to the hands of local government, including the mayor of the city of Houston, for you to be able to restore the lives of your fellow citizens. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and just know that the city of Houston is open for business as we speak.
Thank you all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Mayor. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to begin by welcoming you on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, but I'm going to pause for a moment because I'm delighted that our partner, who partnered with me when it was Congresswoman Jackson Lee, has now become, as one would say, we are one. And we're delighted that the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation has taken up this wonderful effort. And to all of you, you're a testimony to the vitality of the Meet and Match. Would you welcome to the podium the President and CEO of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, A. Shanice Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying yourselves at our 47th Annual Legislative Conference. Yes? Good. Okay. Well, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's 7th Annual Meet and Match Forum, coordinated in partnership with the CBCF Board of Directors Chairwoman, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. This year's conference theme, And Still I Rise, reflects a legacy of resilience that emphasizes the collective strength of the Black community to rise above continued economic, social, and political inequalities while simultaneously creating a path forward. And I think today's event does just that. This forum provides small and minority business owners like yourself, and formerly I am one, with access to top corporate and federal buyers who are seeking to partner with small businesses and entrepreneurs. Today, you will have the chance to market your products and services to public and private procurement officers and contract managers. In addition, you'll learn how your products and services can offer competitive advantages in domestic and international markets. I extend my sincere thanks to Amazon Web Services, Exelon, Macalogic, Northrop Grumman, Tricor Industries, and the United States Air Force for participating on today's panel. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating and thanking our panel. And to each of you, be sure and take advantage of this wonderful opportunity, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your time with us here in DC. Thanks so much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for those words, and thank you to all of you who are present. Allow me to share a few words with you, but as I do so, I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge my fellow Houstonians and those in Harris County who are now on the road, a very difficult road to recovery. As I was here in Washington conflicted, I realized that people are still going to distribution centers. We're still looking for forklifts. Tomorrow I'll be hosting a FEMA fair from here in my district. We're still trying to select disaster recovery centers, and yes, we still need trucks, come one, come all, if you're prepared to come so that we can sign you up to remove debris. But in doing that, I wanted to make sure that our handprint was on this wonderful conference, 47 years, and to recognize all of you who have come so that I could invite you to Houston, Harris County, and Port Arthur, and Beaumont, Rockport, and Corpus. And then, as well, as you well know, our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico, completely out of power with a 4 to 6 month time frame, and still looking for those who may have been lost. Our friends in the Virgin Islands are facing their own challenges, and my colleagues in Florida as well. Natural disasters cannot be predicted in many instances and cannot be stopped. But one thing that can occur is preparedness. And as a member of the Homeland Security Committee, I think it's crucial to have Dan, who's been with us throughout this whole tenure of this beginning, and the federal agencies that have come to interact with our small businesses. Once we stand up small businesses, we stand up a generation of economic opportunity. That is why we do this, because I can assure you that the small businesses under the umbrella, if you will, of the hurricanes are impacted greatly. And I am working to ensure that those who are smaller than small, those who are single proprietors in the recovery, we want to introduce and are ready to introduce legislation that besides the SBA 1% loan that goes for businesses as well as home repair, that we provide $1 billion for small businesses that are grants and not loans so they can get back on their feet and they can hire the 1 or 2 individuals. We need your support for that. We need your support for the $174 billion that I've introduced with 43 members of Congress. The one thing you cannot do in a catastrophic incident is nickel and dime the recovery. You can't nickel dime repair of churches or nickel dime the homes, nickel dime infrastructure. There are thousands that are unhoused down in our region. 3,000 are in uninhabitable places alone in one of our smaller cities. Some of our constituents are in tents. Others are still in hotels looking for homes. And so it is important that we get the infrastructure of home and fixing businesses, and as well the infrastructure of dams. Many people remember the levee, the day the levee broke. Well, we have a dam, and those dams had to be manually released, purposefully released. And in doing so, tragically, we lost more lives and more property was flooded, including my congressional district. In the arts area, we lost our major theater, and we're still coming back. But I'm reminded of our theme, and still I rise. The mayor said the city of Houston is open for business. Today in these rooms, we are open for business. And as I share with you just a few thoughts, thought it was very important that we be reminded of those who are still suffering. And I ask you to acknowledge and give a hand of support for those hurricane survivors and victims all over the region, from Irma to Maria to Hurricane Harvey. Would you please? I know that the panelists will be introduced. Very shortly. I'll just call their names. But there's nothing like teamwork. There's nothing like teamwork. And I'm delighted to work with a great team leader of all of us. And he knows that I'm on his team, and he is on the team of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. The CBC gave birth to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and we are still going strong. And so I am delighted that the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus has just arrived, and I'll slow talk. I think he was getting his ear filled up. I want you to know that we had Mayor Turner on the line. He said the city of Houston is open for business. He thanked all of you for your support. We're hoping that we'll have you down there when the foundation comes down in November, a different time from the Institute. The first voice I heard, and we were still raining, I was down under, if you will, was Cedric Richmond. And he wasn't saying, He wasn't worried, are you in water? He said, look, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. I said, thank you, Chairman. We were racing toward the same direction, but he is galvanizing us. We're going to have a large mass of members of Congress down and looking at the array of ways that we can help. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome to the podium the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Cedric Richmond of Louisiana.
Let me thank Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for the introduction and all of her hard work. There's no, she's the Energizer Bunny. If you have an event or if you look at the floor of the House or in your meeting, she's at all three all the time advocating on behalf of her constituents and what she believes in. The other part is that when Katrina and Rita happened and my world changed and I lost my home, my brother lost his home, my mother lost her home, it was the Congressional Black Caucus that came down and made sure and gave us reassurance that New Orleans would be rebuilt, that they would be here for us. And then James Clyburn, at that time, was put over making sure that all of the government entities responded like they should. That being said, you learn stuff from that experience. And the one thing that I know for a fact is the best recovery for the people in Houston, in Florida, in Puerto Rico, in the Virgin Islands, all of those places is that they need to be part of the economic development that is created through their pain and suffering. And that should be a leading principle. The other thing I would say is, look, the answer to most of the problems in the African-American community start with economic development and access to opportunity. So if you talk to me about education, I will talk to you about the fact that a lot of our parents are working 2 jobs so that they can make ends meet, and then you want them to go home and be able to help with homework. If we can pay a living wage, if we can give our entrepreneurs access to federal contracts and others, it's very, very important. And I think the most embarrassing line is how much advertising the federal government does with our African-American owned newspapers. It's glaring, and if you ever want to get the word out to the African-American community, those papers are the best start because they're not only in the grocery stores, but they're in the churches. And in fact, they're the only newspaper that can get in the churches. And then if you look at our African-American business, they're more likely to host and hire our young, vulnerable kids, our at-risk kids, our formerly incarcerated individuals. So the backbone of the African-American community and how we uplift the African-American community and the country as a whole is with our African-American businesses. And I will close with saying that I'm glad that Amazon is represented here. It's no secret about our concern of the merger. We're happy that Whole Foods prices have gone down, and we're looking forward to, look, I only have so much money, there's only so much I can buy. But we're also looking forward to them leveraging the power and the success that they have had, because the one thing we do, especially as a people, is we don't hate. And we like the success they've had, and we just want to make sure that their vendor pool and their opportunities are opened up to people of color who have decided to be entrepreneurs, and that way we will still become a more perfect union. So thank you all for being here, and thank all of you. Thank you, Sheila.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. There is the press person for Stacey Plaskett, my sister. We just mentioned the Virgin Islands, and we're going to be working together to make sure they are restored. Thank you, Mr. McQuarrie. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Daniel, I'm going to take it from here now and move very quickly so that our wonderful panelists can go forward. I'm going to do some meteoric opening comments, if you will. Let me thank Dr. Mary Haley. You all will be appropriately introduced, but I just wanted to thank you. Emmett Vaughn, Elizabeth L. Natter, we're delighted. Gloria Pulalani, Jennifer Cronis, Teresa McElroy, McAlooey. Say it again, madam. Oh, I love it. McAlooey. Got it. And Daniel, we are part of the family. The Department of Homeland Security was created after 9/11. I am an original member of the Homeland Security Committee. I was at Ground Zero Daniel, I think, was part of the merger. He has been stupendous on the vitality of the Department of Homeland Security from security perspective, but also from a business perspective. Give him a very big hand. He is our anchor for this program. Let me acknowledge Denise Roth, former administrator of the General Services Administration, appointed by President Obama. Please stand. She is our guest, and I hope she will contribute to understanding that GSA a little better. Might I ask the question, were you on site when you made that deal with Trump Tower? I don't know. All right. Joyce Brayboy, that's all I'm going to say, because we are a nonpartisan 501c3. I may talk about a security issue, but I'll get that at the end. Joyce Brayboy of Goldman Sachs, 10,000 small businesses. I don't know if she's made it here yet, but I want to thank her for making her way to my city of Houston at the embryonic stages of the 10,000 small businesses. It's been amazing on what they've done. David Reeves, are you in the house? Verizon's Enterprise Solution. Thank you so very much for your work and collaboration, not only on this, but with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. Thank you very much. Dr. Wendell Point, CEO of Point Management Group. Doctor, thank you so very much. We're delighted with his work. These are our experts. You need to take advantage of them, network with them. Brenda Burke, Staff Vice President of Supplier Diversity for Anthem. Thank you so very much. Under Brenda's great work, we've done a lot of work in diversity. You are to be commended. Thank you again. And Tom Linney, Executive Director for Small and Veterans Business Program. Get a hold of him for sure. The government does business, and we need to do it right. Thank you, Tom, for your presence. I am delighted with all of these attendees. And I want you to say that I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this. I want to thank Shashrina Thomas, because we started this in our office. She's now a businesswoman. Give her a very big hand. She's somewhere right over there with her partner, Darren, and they have a fabulous business. But I'm delighted that I allowed her to sharpen her extraordinary talent in my office, and we've been working together ever since. I want to acknowledge my Chief of Staff and all of my staff, Glenn Rushing. I also see, give him a hand, I also see the representatives of Texas Southern University, and I know they do business. So let's hold your hand up and say you do business. And that's right. And you're in Texas Southern, which is down in Houston. Dr. Lane, we want to thank him for his vital leadership. I have always been involved in small businesses and small business activities. I've authored a number of amendments, including America Rising Act and the Transitioning Heroes Act, to name a few, all geared toward providing opportunities for small businesses. Always interested in small, minority, veteran-owned, service-disabled, and hub zone and women-owned businesses, and we should have a can-do attitude. I think recognizing entrepreneurs is no easy feat, and it should be done, but the recognition should come in creating the pathway of opportunities. And so not only are we looking for those businesses already, but we should not let the tech industry be the only ones that can coin the phrase startup. We should all be starting up. And as you well know, more young people are graduating saying, I'm going into business than I'm getting a job. You created that atmosphere. And so I think it is important that we create the opportunity for success. That is the key. And I had an energy session this morning, and we're going to alter some of this in the next session that all of us are able to be here. And that is, we want our private equity guys in the room because there are more entities that raise money than just banks and the guy on the street corner. I hope none of you have to wind up going down that direction. But in any event, we need the private equity guys. They're small, they're big, they're in between, are they not? And they need to be introduced to you. You need to be introduced to them. So each time we are growing this opportunity. I'm optimistic that many of the small business owners here today will go on to own powerful enterprises, and I hope you will provide opportunities for others through mentorship. Let me say, in the hallway, I met someone and said, I was here last year, and I got a contract. I don't know if you were here last year or at any other time and you got one, raise your hand, but I meet them all the time. This is live and real, as some would say. This is a place to stay woke. One of the things that you should be doing is creating a business plan, creating a timeline, getting your financial house in order, networking at various beneficial times. So let me be very clear. This is a time for action. And in these troubling times, nothing should stop us from doing what we do. creating jobs, building wealth and institutions, being reminded of the protection of our civil rights. Because I think that business people should never leave behind their obligation to be a champion for civil rights, equal opportunity, diversity, and what is right. That is what we do in this room. So let me thank all of the vendors. I'm going to go around, and to the panelists, please don't think I am not listening. I'm multitasking, but I must shake the hands of all of these vendors. Sometimes I do not get a chance to do that. I hope Shanice will shake some of the hands as well before she has to get to her next location, and to thank them. And I particularly want to note Emmett Vaughn is a member of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Board. You wonder how this gets done. It is because we have a board of diverse persons, business and members, who work with the foundation. The foundation is our entity. We're on the board. Dr. Nash is here. Stand up, sir. I'm not going to let you, another member of the board. We're just delighted for all the work that they do. And we say this because we don't want them to get off the board and stop giving what they're supposed to give. How about that? So you pat Dr. Nash and Emmett Vaughn on the back. Is that all right? Thank you for your service, and thank you all. God bless all of you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Daniel, you're on.
How in the hell do you follow that? Let's give the Congresswoman another hand, please. Now, we know the primary function for you being here is not to be around the panel. You got an excellent panel. Let's give them a hand. You've already heard who they are. Let me get the screen straight, and we'll get started. I was a grunt in Vietnam. They didn't teach me any of these technical skills. I could kill you with M16. I was good with that. Let's let the panel each have 1 minute of introduction. And I want to know if they all got a booth here. So just take a minute, introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into the presentation. So please, go ahead. Start with you.
All right, awesome.
I would say ladies first, but we don't have but one guy.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Cronus. I lead the Department of Defense business for Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services is the subsidiary of Amazon.com that provides cloud computing infrastructure to customers globally, and my responsibility is the Department of Defense. I want to thank the Congresswoman and the committee for the invitation to be here today. Amazon is very excited to be here. We have a team of folks from our business partner organization that's willing to talk with everybody afterwards, so we're really looking forward to that. Just a few comments about Amazon with respect to our commitment to small business. The first thing I'd point out is it's probably not a well-known fact, but over half of the sales on Amazon.com come from businesses and business partners who are using Amazon.com, in some cases fulfillment by Amazon, to ship their products and services to companies using our Prime, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. We also have a lending organization called Amazon Lending that to date, since its inception in 2011, has provided over $3 billion in short-term loans to businesses who are looking, small to medium businesses who are looking to do business on Amazon.com. And also in my business unit, Amazon Web Services, we have a very large partner network called the Amazon Web Services Partner Network that has tens of thousands of small to medium to large businesses that we train and enable through sales and technical enablement and marketing support to make your business successful on Amazon Web Services. So I'm looking forward to talking more about all of those things, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Glad to have you. Do you have a booth? Do you have
We do. We
okay.
have a team right in the back there.
There they are.
Lots of
They are back
folks,
there. And Tom, I know you're not going to let her get all the way back there for you to talk to her, because we were talking about her earlier. So we want to make sure that
Absolutely.
you get a chance to talk to Ms. Tomlin, the VA.
Okay, absolutely, yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Alnatar. I'm the CEO of Tricor Industries. Tricor Industries is a mid-sized business with expertise spanning from full lifecycle software engineering, IT infrastructure support, to IT service management with a tiered call center capability. We also have products, ranging from mobile apps to unified SaaS solutions such as Velocity. Our team is actually almost directly across from me down the hall, and I know they're dying to show you what they got. But I also want to thank Congresswoman Ms. Jackson Lee, for her leadership as a senior member of Congress, taking charge in positioning us, small, mid-tier, minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses to excel and grow in this country. So God bless you, God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you very much, and we're very honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next. Go on down the road.
Hi, I'm Mary Haley. I'm the Director of Small Business for the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. And just on behalf of the Air Force, especially the Secretary of the Air Force and the Office of Small Business for the Air Force, we definitely do want to thank Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for her amazing leadership and for her invitation to participate this year. We are very grateful. So part of what we do is specifically in the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center is we buy major weapon systems and we sustain them. But as part of that, we also buy everything else. We buy janitorial and pest control. We buy IT services. We buy everything, and we're always looking for ways that we can make the cost, schedule, and performance impact to our programs through the utilization of small businesses and have that commitment to small businesses for them to groom and grow and it be a win-win situation for everybody. So just to give you a slight overview of the Lifecycle Management Center, to date we have spent about $2.1 billion on prime small business awards. This does not count our subcontracting numbers. As part of the Air Force Material Command, we're about 42% of their numbers, and Air Force Material Command is about 75% of the Air Force's numbers. So what we buy sways the whole Air Force. And I would be very honored to speak with anybody who wants to speak with me about how we can have a working relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have staff here as well?
Unfortunately, this is a direct conflict with the Air
Okay.
Force Association conference going on.
Okay.
So this year we had a conflict.
Okay, we understand. Thank you.
So they sent their best.
Right. And she can't go till she shakes everybody's hand.
That's
so
right. Every
pass
single
our
person
business
here.
cards.
I'm Teresa Makalolooi. There will not be a test on my last name. I represent my small business, which is called Macalogic. Most of you can logic out how that name came about. I like to think of myself as the person who gets to serve the folks who work for Macalogic and have been a successful small business on the rise. Just 5 years ago, I started this company, and it was me, and just me. I've got a lot of help from large company business partners that I knew, from small business offices that I contacted, and primarily, quite frankly, from other small businesses that I went and partnered with. So one of the reasons that I wanted to be here today was to talk with you about making sure that you're teaming up with your small business brethren, that you're taking advantage of mentor opportunities. I was here with the Congressman, gosh, I think it was 3 years ago. And at that time, I'm going to say a minimum of a dozen people came up and gave me their card. And I told them then, I'm really going crazy. I was all by myself at that point. I really want you to reach out to me. I'm happy to mentor you. I've got almost 30 years of experience working primarily with the Department of Defense. Come talk to me, but you're going to have to reach out to me. Only 2 people did. So my message for you today is continue communicating. If somebody says, I want to help you, believe them, give them an opportunity to help you, take advantage of the mentors, especially, am I allowed to say that? Especially the women-owned small businesses. Am I allowed to say that? Or the minority-owned small businesses? I'm Filipino.
That's okay.
And the SDVOSVs and the VOSVs, yes.
Okay. So, and the 8, well, yeah, we're 8A. So, so team up together, talk to one another. And the other thing is make sure that you're getting in touch with and taking your time to go meet with your small business administration folks, whoever they are. Take advantage of the training. If you get there and you feel like you're not getting what you need, ask the question again. Ask it in a different way. The Small Business Administration folks that I've been working with have been invaluable despite us having some differences of opinion. I kept after them, they assisted me, and my company is still very small. We're just a little under 60 folks right now, but we're in 3 locations, and I think that we're on our way to greatness. So you will see me. I do not have a booth or a table here because I still have a pretty lean back office, but I wore this like super fancy striped jacket, and I'm tall, and I have lots of gray hair. Come find me afterwards. I would love to talk to you, and I would love an opportunity to help you grow your small business.
Thank you. Also, as she was mentioning, the SBA, don't forget the Small Business Development Centers and the P-Tax. Some of the people are familiar with the P-Tax. Procurement Tech, they do a lot of that good stuff for free as well. So make sure you include them when you're talking to other people. Thank you so much. Gloria?
Good afternoon. I'm Gloria Puolani. I'm Corporate Director for Global Supplier Diversity for Northrop Grumman Corporation. And I'd like to thank the Congresswoman for inviting Northrop Grumman to participate again this year in this wonderful activity. And I also want to thank her for her leadership in the CBC, and in particular, her efforts to support the great state of Texas. That's my home state. So everything that you do to support Texas is really, really appreciated. For those of you who don't know Northrop Grumman is a leading global security company. We have major capacity and capability in autonomous systems, cybersecurity, logistics, what we call C4ISR, and I'll explain that later, and strike. We're located in all 50 states and 25 countries, and we're organized into 3 operating units: aerospace, technology services, and mission systems. As it relates to our commitment to small business, I'm pleased to say that for 10 consecutive years, over 10 consecutive years, we've met and exceeded our small business goal, and the statutory goal especially, but in particular, the stretch goal that we give internal for our company. And that's been over 35% for several years, very close to 40%. And I say it publicly because it keeps the pressure on me to make sure that we continue to increase that number. That's not my number. I'd like to see it higher. So I'm anxious to meet all of you who are interested in doing business with Northrop Grumman. We do have a table in the back, and wave your hand, Northrop Grumman folk in the back. We'll have some more folks who will be joining us after the session, when the session actually begins. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria.
Dan Sturdivant opened up the meeting making a comment about ladies first. Dan, let me say to you, and I'm sure I speak for every other man in the room, I've had dreams that look a lot like this, where I got to be the only deep voice on a table or a panel full of smart, talkative women. So this is going to be easy for me. I am Emmett Vaughn. I am the Small Business Liaison Officer for Exelon Corporation. We are the largest utility holding company in the United States. We also are the largest company that generates power via carbon neutral assets, code for nuclear. We are a new member by performance of what's known as the $1 Billion Roundtable, meaning that we are one of the only, and Verizon is here in the room also. In my business portfolio, I manage on an annual basis about $2.4 billion of deals done with diversity certified suppliers on the goods and services side. I also provide strategic advisory on another $2.1 billion that we do with about 26 minority-owned investment banks in our asset management portfolio. So I'm anxious. We do have a couple members of my staff that are here today, because I saw her splendid in purple. I want y'all to ever do an eyes left and honor Sheila Jackson Lee, the remarkable Congresswoman from the great state of Houston, Texas. And my other boss, because she's still here in the room, the effervescent, I respectfully to the lady with the fancy stripes, Shawnice Washington is wearing them stripes. And so Shawnice Washington, the CEO of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to move this right along because, like I said, I know you guys are interested in getting to the booth. But we're going to ask a couple of questions. But if you have some questions, we have the mic man. Stand up so they can see you. And he'll run over, give you the mic, keep your questions short so we can move right along. Emmett said I could ask him anything. So, well, you're up there with all these beautiful women now. Come on now. Okay. Talk about what specifically are you looking for when you look for small businesses or entrepreneurs that you want to do business with?
I'm glad I anticipated. Dan, thank you very much. Because we are, I'm sure, limited on time. I'm going to give you just a couple high points, everybody in the room. Real quick, how many people are on the sell side, just so I can calibrate my remarks very quickly? Raise your hand if you're on the sell side. That's okay, thank you. Here's what I would say, Dan. I think in today's economy, it's very important that people understand the distinct difference between public and private sector economics. All too often, we find companies that straddle both. They show up in the same RFP processes or the same bid processes with the same bid, and they're very different. Public sector is, as a rule of thumb, is going to pay a little bit more. Private sector is going to squeeze you. So it's very important that you understand those economics and demonstrate a succinct way of speaking to those economics. The other thing is that as we believe it or not, we're closing the first decade of the new millennium. As we go into this second decade, I would suggest to you that we challenge our collective behaviors. In the case in point, more strategic alliances from those of you that are on the small business side or the diversity certified business side. Industry consolidations are happening all around you, and the train is leaving fast. And too many of us are not bringing solutions where you are collaborating and demonstrating the behaviors of the very partners, whether they be government agencies or large corporations that you are trying to sell to. You've got to change that. That's the get a clue part of what I would say. And then finally, someone mentioned, the Congresswoman mentioned equity partners and equity investors. Know that equity is better served by scale. So those are the hints, if not the answers to the quiz of what a Fortune 100 company is looking for. And hopefully, as you talk with many of our fine colleagues around the room, they'll echo some of those same sentiments.
Thank you so much, sir. I was asked to ask Miss Denise James Gatling. Come on over.
DJ.
She is a member of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and she's on the board with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Hello, everyone. I am Denise Gatling, and I work for GlaxoSmithKline, the pharmaceutical company. And I just wanted to acknowledge and let you know that we're always looking for suppliers to help with the procurement that we do for our company. Though I do not have a table set up, I will be sitting next to the Anthem booth. So if anyone's interested in doing business with our company, please see me. Thank you.
I was told she was looking for all kind of contractors, so try not to knock her down when you go over to talk to her. But I understood she wants to see some of everybody. Dr. Haley, easy question. What's the best way to do business with the Air Force?
So the first way that's the best way to do business with the U.S. Air Force is bring your A game. Just bring it from day one. I have, when people call me, for those of you who have my business cards, that's my phone number. It doesn't go to an admin assistant. It comes right through to me. If I call back somebody and they answer the phone, hello, or yeah, I already have an idea in my head of the type of company I might be dealing with. Now, everybody has a bad day, so I usually, keep pressing and seeing if there is really something genuinely that we can do there. But it's just one of those things where I tell people, you never get a second chance at that first impression. Be able to walk the walk. I will tell you what, within 3 questions, I know if you can walk the walk on whatever capability you're trying to bring to the U.S. Air Force. And we are very critical on introducing new types of capabilities, but we desperately need them. We are in a war every single day on a different front. And we have to have game-changing technologies. And guess where we get them? From small business innovation. That is where we get all of our great ideas. So we want that. We want to capture it. But if you are not familiar with what we do or you don't know what's going on, just say so up front. Hey, I'm new to this. I don't know, but I have this thing. I have this widget, and it's amazing. Can you tell me where to go? If you come to me and you say, yeah, no kidding, I have a time machine, it's like, yeah, I have some people you need to meet today. That's not going to be a problem. Ask for help. Seek out appropriate resources. If you come to me and say, I need help with this, I can tell you who to contact. It won't be a problem. If you think that you have an opportunity for a procurement that we're doing, that it should be set aside for maybe a woman-owned small business or a service veteran disabled small business or hub zone, and you say, yeah, I think it could because I know I can do it, but I don't know anybody else could do it, I will find you somebody else. We will try to get it set aside. Respond professionally and timely, and I'm sure that, you know, a lot of people in this room know that FedBizOps, if you're not familiar with it, you got to get familiar with it because that is how we do our procurements. It is a needle in a haystack trying to find information. So if you don't know how to do that, PTACs, SBA Procurement Center representatives, they will 100% help you. And I will say for our procurement representative, who last year was promoted to Deputy Area Director for our area, I tell people, imagine you are paying this man $1,000 an hour because the information he is going to give you could make you very rich, very fast, if you listen to him. And he's doing it for free. So these people give you information, use it. Two more quick things. You know, responding to those RFIs, if you're having a problem, you need more time, let the CO know. That's what they're there for. But if they don't hear from you, and I've literally had a person come in and say, I thought somebody else was going to respond so that it would be set aside. Well, I thought that person was going to respond so it would be a set aside, and nobody ended up responding. That's how we know if we can set it aside for a small business and how we know if we can further set it aside for socioeconomic. If we don't hear from you, it's done. It's a done deal after that. And very finally, I will just tell you, be persistent. Steve Martin, I loved his original quote, that persistence is a terrific substitute for talent. Now, I'm saying you got to have both. We really prefer both, but persistence is what is going to get you ahead in this game and working for the Air Force because it is a highly competitive area. That's it.
But please keep in mind that there's a difference between persistence and stalking. Stalking. I swear, stalking is against the law, though. So, you know, let's keep the stalking aside and just be persistent, you know. Call it every day is a little bit like stalking. You know, have something to say when you call. I think there's a question, young lady right here.
I'm Carolyn Kloss, retired colonel from the Army. I just retired last year.
Hoorah!
Give her a hand.
And I started a business late last year. It is a strategy-driven communications company. I did policy and strategy work, kind of three-tiered, looking at national security, national defense, women and gender issues, and also educational development and information technology. Some of this are considered soft skills. They are not gadgets. I'm not selling 2x4s or deuce and a halves. So what is the best way to go about marketing this essential skill set?
I'm not going to knock Mary over, but could you make sure
I
you
was gonna
see
say,
me before you leave?
call me.
I think I have an opportunity that we could work together on.
And
Hold
then,
up.
Sorry, that was so inappropriate.
Yeah. No,
No, it
it's
wasn't.
good because, you know, these are the conversations that we definitely want to have when you have a question like this because it is hard on those soft skills. I will tell you, if you're in, I'll call it continuous process improvement, that's a tough one for us because we do a lot of it in-house and we have a lot of partnerships with different universities across the U.S. However, what you do has piqued my interest, and I would absolutely like to talk more with you about it. It might not be something we in particular would be in a position to direct contract with you, but I could probably give you half a dozen companies who would want to talk to you tomorrow.
in
In this one, yeah.
30+ years in the Army, I the NSC White House, OSC policy, and just learned a whole lot about what takes place in getting things done. And in any company, some type of strategy is needed in order for it to reach its end state and be successful.
Well, make sure you get with those two ladies when we go into the.
Colonel, if I could add one more thing
Oh, hold on.
also.
Oh, I got two panels. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ladies first.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, from having done business with the DoD for almost my entire life, and I'm also a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, one thing you can do to market your services to the DoD is really get heavily engaged with the industry associations that do significant outreach, like the Air Force Association, the Armed Forces Communications and Electronics Association. There's one for Navy, AUSA for Army, all of those I'm sure you're familiar with. But that's a fantastic way to get deeply engaged with DoD, because a lot of times the procurement rules prevent sort of more direct conversations with companies and customers. Maybe the Air Force colleagues here can attest to that, but that's a great way to sort of provide a marketing angle and avenue for you.
May I just have a intervention to acknowledge, I thought I saw her here, but she must have gotten up out of her seat. Carolyn Shabazz, trustee. All right, she was here, Houston Community College. State Representative Joe Desatel of Beaumont. They were under siege, and so he didn't ask for this assignment, but I'd suggest that you give him your cards if you're interested in work in Beaumont and with the recovery. You don't mind me saying that, Joe? Raise your hand. He does many other great things, but Representative Joe Desatel. Just wanted to make sure. Do we have any other elected persons in the room? Any other elected persons, local elected persons in the room? All right, and I do want to acknowledge, I just want to make sure another one of our board members is represented by Wayne Kimball and Carlton Bryant. Are you in the room? Wayne, okay, maybe coming in shortly, but Janice Horroyd is a member of the board, and I saw attorney Mrs. Johnson. Is Lonnie Johnson in the room? He's a member of our board. Any other board members in the room of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation? And Ms. Bowe, thank you very much. I have to owe her, as they say, I was almost at the benediction, but I know that her STEM went very well. And we're going to build on that program with you. So that's Ms. Bowe. Thank you so very much. Anyone else? Board member? Any CBC members in the room? Congressional Black Caucus members in the room? All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We're going to, you got, oh, wait a minute.
Sorry. Let me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the co-chair of the ALC 47th Annual, Mark Veazey. Let's give him the time to give a word. Thank you.
Sheila, thank you very much. It is great to be with you. I represent the 33rd Congressional District in Dallas and Fort Worth, and really just great that Sheila has put this together. This is a great opportunity for people to meet individuals that work for these larger agencies, these larger businesses. I think that one of the big takeaways on CBC and ALC weekend is the fact that we do have all of these opportunities where people can network and get to know each other. You get to meet black people from all over the country, and not just all over the country, all over the globe, that people that are coming here to learn about a vast wealth of information from experts from in their field from everywhere. And we want people to be able to take away that information, go back to their neighborhoods, communities, states, and be able to get some business and grow and share and create wealth, because that has to be part of our goal as African Americans, is the creation and building of wealth. We need to talk about it more, and I'm just so glad that Sheila has put this together, particularly with her role on Homeland Security, to be able to bring people together to have that conversation, because honestly, we cannot have it enough. So Congresswoman, thank you very much for your leadership in this area. Thank you for letting me have a few words. Very proud to be the co-chair of this year's ALC, and thank you for your participation, and please keep participating and coming back each and every year. Thank you.
We're going to do 2 more questions, and then we're going to break into the meet and match. Doctor?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Wendell Point. I own Point Management Group, LLC. We have offices in Maryland, Virginia, and in Louisiana. We do work with FEMA and also HUD, Department of Transportation, and so forth. And we specialize in small business inclusion on mega projects. These are $1 billion plus infrastructure P3 projects. So from your perspective, panelists, can you give us some advice as to how the small businesses should position themselves before, during, and after these large efforts that are coming through that are being more privatized?
I'll jump in on that one for sure, and I said in the beginning, and I hope people don't take it as a throwaway. I really feel very passionately that the biggest threat to small business advancement is this lack of being able to build the choir. I've been at this too long. When I say build the choir, there are too many NAICS codes that are not getting the idea of scale. It's everybody is playing a game of small fish leapfrog. And the projects to achieve economic parity, they're just going to get bigger. You know what I mean? It's like, so in other words, guys, quote, Walmart's not going away anytime soon. And in the marketplace of which we function, you don't have to collapse the entirety of your small businesses to stay alive, but you need a larger strategic alliance playbook that you can pull out. And I mean, and it's to suggest that 5 or 6 firms, particularly in technology-centered entities, or in some of the professional services firms, Colonel, that's the one I was going to make. You know, intellect is scalable, but you've got to show some sense that you understand who's on the buy side. So if it's a large project, there's several going on in this region that are going on right now. You've got to find a way to go find your way into a room, sit down, collaborate, match up all your strengths. So, you know, so sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses work together, and then bring some collective presentations, solutions, not just RFP responses.
The other thing I like to say is, when you're talking to these individuals, find out what type of small business programs they have. For instance, at DHS, we have a vendor outreach session we do on a monthly basis. So there are, and Mr. Reeves at Verizon has been a part of that. So everybody's got small business programs, some shape, form, or fashion. Find out where they are, what time they're having them, and get in where you fit in. Can you get that young lady in the back? Because I don't want her to kill me once I leave the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I had to write down what I want to say because I'm from Houston, Texas, and I own an employment agency. And I want to know, are there vendors here who would consider in assisting the applicants I have? I hire second chance offenders. I hire low-income families. I hire people who look like me, who have been through the system, and I can't seem to find anyone who wants to give them the chance or see in them what I see. That's all I want. Can anybody help the people of Houston? Help my company, help Houston.
Hopefully, there is somebody, once we get into the meet and match, somebody want to answer? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can answer it. Yeah, please find me. You know, us small and mid-sized business need to stick together and help each other. My friend once told me something about 15, 20 years ago. The government contracting and commercial world, the pie is big. Together, we're much stronger. We should help each other. We should never be scared of each other. And I wanted to follow up a little bit on the small business going after large contracts because we have to be creative, right? We got to think about, you know, we have certain quals as a small business. It's difficult for us to win $150 million contracts or $200 million contracts, and they're looking for prime quals, right? Again, together, we're much stronger, right, as a team. Or you can look at other creative things such as mentor protege relationships, joint venture programs, so that your subs quals become your qual as well, so that you can compete effectively.
Anyone else on that aspect before we move on?
I would just like to say that if you look at the large prime contractors, we team all the time. I'll call them my competimates. We're in competition for some programs, but in others we win together. And I think that small businesses are going to have to change that mindset. I echo what my fellow panelist said when he talked about having that larger scale. You almost have to do that. And one more thing, just about small business innovative research, that is key. That's one of the areas where we see a very low representation of minority businesses in the Small Business Innovative Research Program. That new game-changing technology is key to major companies like a Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin or Boeing. We're looking for companies who want to be engaged in the Small Business Innovative Research Program. And there's money. There's money for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And if that technology complements a platform for a company like a Northrop Grumman, it could be a game changer for your company. So I encourage you to take a look at small business innovative research. Tizak Lozo is in the back. He's kind of an expert on SBIR. I encourage you to talk to him or to me after the session's over. Thank you.
And now I was going to bring that up when Dr. Haley was talking about the programs at the Air Force. I was going to ask her if they had an SBIR program, but that's the program that we have at DHS as well.
So it's not just a program, it's a really big program. So as I am the director for the Lifecycle Management Center, one of my cohorts is the director for the Air Force Research Laboratories, and they actually run that SBIR program. I'm not even going to begin to tell you how many millions of dollars we throw at the SBIR program. And basically, they're $150,000 grants, essentially. Here, make this work, figure this out. You have this great idea. We want to see if you can actually carry it through. And the reason that Bill Harrison, the director of that, and I work very closely together is because every year, a lot of that research goes right down the drain, and we never transfer it onto a major weapons system because we don't have the right mechanism. And what we're finding out is the right mechanism is a partnership with like a Northrop Grumman. This is how we actually bring this technology to the table faster. And oh, by the way, if you get a phase 1 or phase 2, phase 3, I can give you an unlimited amount of money. I can direct award it to you. It counts towards my small business goals. It counts towards my competition goals, because the competition was done in a phase 1 or phase 2. And so it's like, it is an endless pot and endless potential and opportunities to make that work. So yeah, we absolutely want to do that, and we do strong partnerships with our large businesses. We do a lot of work directly with them. We do work to get it commercialized. The Air Force Research Laboratories has a team of patent attorneys to get your work patented if it gets to that. Like, we have ways to get your concept to fruition, but we need you to do some of the homework up front and see if we can integrate it.
Thank you, Dr. Haley. We appreciate that. We're going to take this one last question and ask the Congresswoman to come close us out.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to ask this question. My name is Sharon Quinn. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for a small mental health business in Maryland, and I want to ask, how do we grow in the community that we help?
So I'm just going to speak from the Air Force position. It's not something we directly contract with, but we have something that's called an Employee Assistance Program, EAP. I'd like to get you in touch with that program if at all possible, because the Air Force, and I've actually worked for all of the services, but right now I work for the Air Force, and the Air Force will actually pay professionals directly to support our folks who need mental health assistance, who need that assistance. We'll do up to 12 hours a year per person at no expense to them. So I'd like to get you in touch with them if that's possible.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Congresswoman, would you like to close this out, please, ma'am?
Ladies and gentlemen, give this outstanding panel a wonderful round of applause. Each of them have been stupendous, and I just individually, Dr. Mary Haley, everybody, Emmett Vaughn, Elizabeth L. Natter, and Gloria Pulalani, Jennifer Cronis, and Teresa Macalololori, almost. I want to finish on the young lady's question and just say, I know you were a little shy. What she is suggesting is that her clients are individuals seeking redemption. And I think that we need to get a little more in the 21st century. If you can have major conservative think tanks and others supporting criminal justice reform, then we in the federal government and the corporation must understand that there's nothing wrong with a second chance. So I'm going to encourage her to be innovative, courageous. Go to all of the tables, unless you've got to catch a plane, and present your clients and yourself. That's what this is about. This is innovation, and to make a difference on the work that you're doing, and then to accept the offer of one of our panelists that small businesses need to collaborate with each other. So that's why we're here, to make a difference. So my final point is this, and let me thank the long-suffering, long-standing, brilliant coordinator, Daniel Sturdivant, again, Department of Homeland Security Procurement. Thank you so very much. Let me introduce Kalicia Wright. Did she go back out? Oh, Kalicia Wright heads the City of Houston's diversity. She is going to be sitting by my long-suffering good friend. The Houston Airport keeps upping their support, and it's because of Rhonda Arnold. And so you're going to be joined by Kalicia, who is going to give information about our issues of debris and other contracts related to the Hurricane Harvey cleanup, hookup, and lookup, all right? Because as the mayor said, we are open for business, and we're getting cleaned up as quickly as we possibly can. So the last point before I ring the bell and say the meet and match, and I don't think we're going to be thrown out of this room, but the one point I wanted to make is a legislative homeland security point, and that is that we are well aware what words can do. Some of us in eras grew up when someone said, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. On the international diplomatic arena, words do matter. Yeah. Words do matter. And so I have had the privilege of working under a number of presidents, Republican and Democrat, and they have had engagements. Some have gone to war. But I can tell you, as I'm telling all of those in their advocacy, I want you to advocate for a number of things. One, affirmative action is not bad, it is good. And it is still a working tool that you in corporate America and the federal government should not undermine. Number two, it is important to note on the diplomatic end, as I started to say, that words matter. And therefore, I think it is inappropriate for the discourse that many of you have been hearing in the international arena with the obviously untenable and impossible to address leader of North Korea. We are bigger than that. There is no doubt that we are the greatest power in the world. Our nuclear arsenal has no comparison. Neither does our United States military. But unless you have stood yourself on the DMZ, as I have done, I haven't been a warrior, but I was there looking North Koreans in the face. There is no reason to think it is cute for this kind of discourse to go on because, my friends, the military tells me themselves that you do not want to engage in an accidental war. You don't want to accidentally get yourself into a war. So I hope as citizens that you will encourage your members of Congress, which is an equal, separate branch of government, that let us be judicious. Let us be the greatest country in the world. Let us protect the American people. Let us focus on the growth and the forward thinking of America if by chance there is a need to defend ourselves, and we will know it. I can assure you that we will stand tall. But let us not get into an accidental war. Thank you, and the meet and match begins right now.